Hi everyone, we're back and today I'm going to show you everything you need to know about a basic Biga. A Biga is a pre-fermentation. It's used to strengthen the dough. It gives a longer levitation, leading to much better flavors and better properties of the dough. So let's get going. We're going to be using a kilo of this fantastic flour, Caputo Pizzeria from Naples. Now, our recipe is going to be a kilo of flour. Put that to the side. 500 ml of water. So we're going to dissolve 3 grams of yeast in the water. Once the yeast is dissolved, we're going to put it into the flour. So now that the yeast has dissolved in the water, there's still some left on the knife. Let's take this off. We're going to add it to our flour, all the water, all the yeast. Okay. Now, we don't want to make gluten at this stage of a Biga. All we want to do is we want to make a dry fermentation. There's no need to knead it. There's no need to touch it. We can make it by shaking. You can mix it with your hands, but don't knead it, okay? Once all the water has been absorbed into the flour, the Biga is ready. So we'll shake it for about 5 minutes, and then we're going to have a look inside, and we should see a very shaggy pre-fermentation dough. Okay, there it is. That's our Biga. We're going to check if it's ready. I'm just going to get a spoon and have a look for any leftover flour at the bottom. Scrape the sides of the container so we get all of our dough. Now, the Biga is typically Italian. There are a few ways of doing it. Today we're making a basic Biga, so it's super easy, super stress-free for anyone to make at home or in a business. It was discovered shortly after the discovery of yeast, and it is a great way of increasing or improving the properties of your pizza dough. Now, this is described as an indirect method of making the dough because we're going to ferment it for 24 hours before completing the dough when we add the rest of the water and the salt. And then we ferment it again for another 24 hours. You can do it for less, you can do it for 6, but it will need to be fermented once again. Okay, it's always used for improving the characteristics of the completed dough. Okay, the fermentation is slowed down by the lack of water. So without the full amount of water, the fermentation is slowed down. And this is what gives. Okay, while we're shaking the dough, what is a Biga? A Biga, it's a type of pre-fermentation or yeast starter. It doesn't include salt in the preparation, only flour, water and yeast. It's a stiff pre-fermentation due to its lower hydration content. Usually it's about 50 to 60% hydration. Now, what is a Biga used for? A Biga is used for improving the functionality of the gluten and strengthening the dough. It's also shortening the fermentation time with less yeast and boosting aroma and flavor, maturing the dough and increasing consistency and extending the shelf life of the dough. Biga is fantastic. It's my favorite pre-fermentation. We're going to rest it at room temperature for 1 hour and then we're going to put it in the fridge for 24 hours. See you tomorrow. Guys, just one more thing I'd like to say about this video, this particular episode. I spend a bit of time in every episode explaining how to make a Biga. So one of the bonuses in focusing solely on Biga in the episode is that I won't have to go over the Biga method every video. You can use this to reflect back, make your own Biga, and come back to a more detailed and shorter video about the different doughs and the different pizzas we're going to be making using a Biga. There's also another sort of Biga that we're going to cover in a separate episode where we use 50% Biga and 50% flour to complete the dough. It's a little bit more complicated, but we're going to cover that in a totally separate episode. Welcome back to our deep dive into the basic Biga recipe. Our Biga has been in the fridge for 24 hours now. Look at the condensation. Let's have a look at what we've got. The smell is sweet. The dough is leavened. It looks like it's perfect, ready to be used. Now let's have a look at the consistency of the Biga. This is why you can't really use your hands. You have to have a mixer. It's really tough. It's really strong. Look at that. It's very, very difficult, if not impossible, to mix by hand. Yeah, let's have another look at it. It's very, very tough. Okay, even the mixer's going to have a hard time with this, but it will succeed. Now, a little bit more about Biga. Biga was first introduced when commercial yeast became available to bakeries. However, before that, they were only using sourdough. So indirect fermentations were introduced because using commercial yeast didn't give anywhere near the same aroma and flavour as a sourdough yeast. So indirect methods were introduced as a bridge between the sourdough flavour and complexity and the simplicity of a commercial yeast. Okay. Now, the long leavening times of Biga allow the flour enzymes to degrade proteins and complex sugars in the dough, which results in a much more digestible product as well. Furthermore, we don't live in a sterile environment, so both Coolish and Biga collect bacteria and yeast from their surroundings, and the fermentation molecules produce molecules of lactic acid and acetic acid that enrich the aroma and the bouquet of the final dough. Okay, so there's your deep dive. Let's begin to mix our Biga. We have our 250 grams of water and 25 grams of salt. Now remember, we used a kilo of flour, 500 ml of water, that to make the Biga. So to get to a 75% hydration, we only need 250 ml of water. Okay, let's start putting it in the mixer. Now, generally speaking, tear up your Biga. You'll feel how tough it is when you're tearing it up. This is super nice stuff. It helps the mixer cope with it. I mean, look at the force I'm having to put into this to tear it. It's really strong, really, really strong. And it's going to give a fantastic pizza dough with great aroma, great flavour. Yeah, now remember, this is the basic Biga. Anyone can do this. It's super easy. Let's get it all in the mixer. Every little bit of it, and we'll start mixing it up. Okay, we're ready to mix our Biga. I've rigged up a little lighting system consisting of a very simple bike torch to help you see what's going on in the bowl up close and personal. Now, when you're making a Biga, it's really important to add the water little by little on a slow mixer setting, little by little. Once the water has become incorporated in the dough, you can add the next bit of water. How do we know when the water's been incorporated in the dough? Well, the sides of the bowl wipe clean. That's the point where you put more water in. So we're going to let this mix on the slower speed for as long as it takes for the dough to absorb the water. The whole process can take up to 20 minutes, but you don't want to rush a good thing. This will result in your next level pizza dough. It's gonna change your game. for the better. Okay, another indicator of when it's time to add more water is when your mixer begins to labour. Okay, so we're going to add our next bit of water, straight to the bowl. And can you hear the motor? Seems more relaxed now. This would be a great moment to ask you all to like and subscribe. Doesn't cost anything. Like and subscribe, please. And watch till the end. Okay, time to take the dough out. Wow, look at this, it's beautiful. Look at the extensibility. It's really, really nice. This is going to be a superb dough. Okay, let's take it out. Oh, this is so nice, look at that. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful, it's beautiful. Look at this dough, it's fantastic. It's really, really nice. So what we're going to do, we're going to rest it. In order to rest it, we're going to give it just a few folds, give it some shape, give it some skin. That's it. We're going to get some olive oil over the top. Give it some love. Oh, it's so nice. That's so nice. Perfect. We'll get some plastic wrap. Put on the plastic wrap. I'm super excited. It's such a nice dough. Super excited. Clean this up a little bit. We're going to rest it now for half an hour. We're going to come back. We're going to stretch it. This is our Biga deep dive. We've now completed the dough. The Biga is incorporated. And now the fun begins. We're going to make the pizzas. Okay guys, we're back. The dough has been rested. Look how much more relaxed that is. Time to take off the plastic wrap. Oh, that's so nice. Oh my God. That is just so nice. Look at that. Oh, I'm really liking this a lot. Okay, time to stretch the dough. Okay, this is my favorite bit, super exciting. We're going to be stretching this dough now. This is arguably my favorite part of making contemporary Neapolitan pizza. That is so nice. The properties of this dough, look at the gluten. It's just beautiful. So we'll pick it up, we'll stretch. Sometimes people do the glass pane test. Okay, here is a bit of a glass pane test on a bigger scale. The stretch. It's beautiful, it's fantastic. It's just lovely. So we'll stretch it as much as we can. Why do we stretch it? It builds the gluten. The gluten becomes more organized in the dough. And it's a very good technique to use when you're working with super high hydration dough such as this. So stretching makes the dough more workable. It allows the dough to hold a shape because it organizes the gluten molecules. Okay, here we go. We've stretched it. And now we're going to fold it. Look at that. Beautiful. So to fold it, we'll pick it up, we'll bring it in and fold it under itself. Okay, then we're going to slap and fold it like we normally do, and we're going to get a much better structure. After this, we're going to rest it again. We do 2 slap and folds our 2 stretches. Look at that, beautiful, beautiful dough. Okay, and this will ultimately help our pizza balls hold their shape better and have more structure to the dough. Okay, that's the first stretch complete. Let's rest it again for 10 minutes. A little bit of olive oil again. Oh, that is so nice. That is just so nice. I can't wait to work with this pizza. It's amazing. Okay, get the olive oil underneath as well. And you see the air in there? Okay, let's find our plastic wrap and give it another 10 minutes. And then we're going to stretch it out again. No secrets here. This is the full process in every detail. Rest 10 minutes. Okay everyone, we're back. Oh, the dough has relaxed. Again, we've actually been half an hour as opposed to 10 minutes. Now, I said earlier that we were going to stretch it and fold it again. However, this very much depends on your dough. You have to get a measure of how relaxed that dough has become before you decide if you're going to stretch it again. So feel the dough, feel it. If it's very loose, another stretch will be of benefit. If it's quite firm and holds its shape, then you don't need to do another stretch. So I'm going to go for it. We're going to do it. Okay. Boop, boop. Going to fold it again. So we'll pick it up, fold it under itself, pick it up, fold it under itself. Under itself. There we go. We got a nice dough. That's a beautiful dough. It's got air in it, can you see? Fold it, close the dough. Get under there. Close it. Okay, you see, it's not sticky. It bounces back when you press in the middle. This is a deep dive, guys. Remember, okay? So one technique I use is I like to walk the dough. Now walking the dough is a bread making technique, but it's super good for pizza dough as well. And what it does is it gives the dough an outside skin. So we don't have to walk it very much. We've got a small tear in the top, which is absolutely fine. Now, we're going to let this rest again, and then only 10 minutes this time. And then we're going to make the balls. Let's get the olive oil on there. It's beautiful. This is going to be fantastic. Okay, 10-minute rest. And this time it will be 10 minutes. Okay guys, it's ready. It's time to make the balls. Okay, we're not going to do any more manipulation of the dough, but look at it. Just look at that. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. We're going to be making 6 balls. So, we're going to take our dough cutter, cut it down the middle. Let's take one of our doughs. Now, look inside here. This is inside the dough. This is going to be sticky. Okay, so we are going to use always the top side of the dough. Dough's always got a top and a bottom. Okay, so a few ways of making balls. Most simple way, cut the dough. We're looking for 280 gram balls. 270, look at that, 284, perfect. Okay, now let's move our dough out of the way a little bit and let's make our ball, all right? See, this is the underside. This should always stay under. a few different ways of making balls. We can use this method, which is very much like folding, slap and fold. Look at that, beautiful. It will stiffen the dough up a little bit as well, which is what we want for our dough balls to hold their shape. That's just beautiful. Look at that. Look at that. So now we close the dough. Really important. Look inside. We have to close this up so it becomes sealed. Okay, so the dough is closed. Back. The dough springs back when you push it in. It's ready. Now I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to work with the dough tray instead of pots. Let's get our next bit. Okay, this is crucial. If you want to use this dough today, leave it outside of the fridge, rest it, let the dough rise, use it in 3, 4, 6 hours, doesn't matter. If you want to use it tomorrow, put the plastic wrap, put it in the fridge, take it out 2 hours before you want to use it. I'm going to use this dough tonight, so I'm going to put the plastic wrap. Fantastic. Guys, we're going to see you when we get back and we're going to be cooking the most amazing pizza. See you in about 4 hours. Guys, we're back on our Biga deep dive. This is the fun bit we've all been waiting for. We're going to see the product of our labor. There's our dough, and one extra surprise. I got a new oven. It's an FA Uno. This is a professional Italian Neapolitan pizza oven. Let's check the temperature. 402 degrees on the stone. We gotta wait till we get 420 degrees and then we are cooking. Okay, we're ready. The oven has come up to temperature. Our dough, let's have a look at our dough. Wow, look at that, that's beautiful. Lovely sheen. This is why we love our pizza. Okay, let's take some out. When you take a dough out of your tray, use flour in the joints in between the pizza and the plastic of the tray, and even put a bit of flour on your spatula. Okay, so we're going to go and do that again. This stops the sticking. It's super important. You don't want this stuff sticking when you're taking it out. One thing I hate is when you get tails. Plop. That was amazing. It came out beautifully. Okay, let's set our dough to the side. Let's give it some. This is so light. It's unbelievable. It's really light. So light. Let's get it on the table. Let's take it to the oven. Okay, it's almost time to take it out of the oven. Oh, the smell. The smell is amazing. Look at this thing of absolute beauty. Look at that. Pizza contemporanea di Napoli, pizza canotto. Oh, it's so soft, so airy, and crunchy on the outside. Soft on the inside. Look at that. That's fantastic. I'm going to cut into this and have a look at the structure of the dough. Snip. I just got to get it in the right place. Snip. Let's have a look. Look at that. So light, so airy. What a structure. Let's turn it around a little bit. Let's have a look at the other side. So light. That's fantastic. Beautiful. I have to say, hey, nice to meet you. This dough is so light. It's delicious. I love it. You guys, stick with Biga. Okay, I just had an idea. I met a lovely young lady in a hardware store the other day who likes pizza. I'm going to go and give her this pizza and see if she likes it. Okay, so we're at the hardware store and I'm going to ask one of the other employees to hold the camera while I present the young lady with the pizza.
Looks amazing.
Mind me filming it?
That's fine. Oh my god, I can't wait to eat.
It's made with amore, as they say in
Let's see the pizza.
There you go. Freshly made yesterday in my electric pizza oven.
And I'm not sharing it either. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Oh, you made me day, honestly, really.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
No problem.